I'm Sara Fanfarillo, author of the book Everlasting, a fantasy fiction published on January 3rd. It is an honor to have the chance to share my book with you, and I really want to thank Boulder Bookshop for this opportunity. It really is a pleasure to me. So, with regard to the narrative, Everlasting is a secret world where events mysteriously chain together. Kendall, the protagonist, unaware of the significance of the journey he's embarking on, thinks he's just searching for answers to everyday questions. But as he progresses, he begins to realize that the journey he's on is much more than personal growth. It is a journey into the heart of the magical, the world in which he finds himself in. This place is not just a spell or an event, but a living, breathing part of the world, which is about exploring the subtle connections that bind everything together, even when the same distant. The guidance Kendall receives from a wise old master is crucial, but he must also learn to trust his instincts. As he is left with a greater understanding of the truth passed down through generations, these forces, magical and mysterious, shape the world around him, creating an environment of wonder. Writing has always been very natural to me. In the beginning, it was a very personal activity. I would write down my thoughts, small paragraphs, and single ideas. It was almost a form of self-expression. And paragraph after paragraph, I started seeing a potential idea that was coming together, and I realized that this something was becoming something bigger than just scattered thoughts. Day by day, those fragments began to connect, developing into a unified piece of writing. What began as a collection of little independent ideas became a greater story. In the world of Everlasting, every corner holds a story, every place has its own story, impacting the characters in subtle but powerful ways. Ancestral connections and mysterious markers are central to both world building and plot development, creating a sense of continuity between generations and establishing a connection between the present and the past. This is a central point to Kendall's journey, as he often comes across clues that at first seem just symbols, words, or objects, but they will gradually begin to form a puzzle. As Kendall uncovers these signs, the true depth of the world begins to emerge, and he discovers how remote events have shaped the world he is in unexpected ways. Whether intentionally or not, everything about us or the situations we face represent an important place when it comes to finding inspiration. Building a character, in this case the protagonist, is a process that gradually evolves as the story progresses and as his qualities and perspectives are refined. The basis on which I built as I went along all the various aspects of his personality are bravery and potential. Kendall is a boy who has never tasted life. He is only aware of what he was made to believe was real. He will discover the different realities and face different challenges that will cause him to doubt his mission, but he will find in himself the courage necessary to move forward. The development of the narrative and the protagonist proceed in parallel, a simultaneous discovery that brings out the protagonist's key strengths. My personal writing process starts with a basic idea. Sometimes it's just a feeling, a question, or an image that triggers something inside me. From there, I think about the type of character best suited to represent that idea. For me, it is essential to create someone who embodies the core of what I'm trying to explore, someone who can bring the theme to life in an authentic way. As the character grows and changes, so does the narrative, they influence each other. The plot is not really something I plan in great detail from the beginning, but emerges naturally during the writing process. The more I write, the more I learn about what a story needs. It is a bit like following a trail where you can see part of the path but not all of it. And the surprise and discovery are an important part of what makes the writing process so exciting for me. I recently reread The Giver by Elias Lowry, which was always been one of my favorites, and it's such a powerful exploration of power, memory, individuality, and the price of societal control. I think the thing that really strikes me the most about The Giver is its ability to make people think. I think it really is important to question the world around us and our value of our emotional experiences. Also, The Prisoner of Masham Hall by Hannah Hadney, the blend of suspense and historical fiction really enhances the vibe, and the way Masham Hall is portrayed is a captivating atmosphere. The depth of the characters, especially in how they confront personal struggles within the larger societal context, really makes the book worth reading. It's like the environment and characters' internal worlds are constantly at odds, adding layers to the mystery. I think what I'd really like readers to know the most about Everlasting is that it's a journey that's both external and internal. While the plot is full of adventure, unexpected twists, and a richly built world, it's also deeply personal. The protagonist's journey is as much about discovering the world around them as it is about understanding themselves. There's a lot of exploration of identity, purpose, and what it really means to belong somewhere or to someone. While set in a fantasy realm, the themes of the book, the pursuit of life, the loss, the hope, are universal. I wanted to create a space where readers could not wholly immerse in a new world, but could also identify and they recognize themselves in their struggles and the character internal worlds. It's a story that asks big questions and hopefully leaves readers with a lot to think about long after they finished it. So now I'm gonna read you a little paragraph of my book Everlasting. It is paragraph 8, so if you wanna follow me, you are more than welcome. One day, Kendall met an older man who differed in character and age from all those boys who were, like him, in a supernatural state. At the moment when the three pure bloods were connecting with nature to return to their home, to return to their temporal hemisphere where they belonged, their energies connected to such an extent that the master was able to pass on his experience to Kendall. The old man was just a master, the one who had given him the map he said he had personally written. In fact, it took a long time to discover and bring back a piece of bark in so many places. He used the remaining magic to take slightly different forms so that it would not be recognized in the future. Much of Kendall's journey, then, seemed to have been gathered, in a sense, by the master, who was probably already aware of his past, the real one, the concrete one, and just wanted to bring him back to where his blood belonged. In the end, however, the gaze of the old and the wise, on the human land or the powerful land, was the same. You could not get a good look from a bad one, or an unfamiliar look from a familiar one. Although genealogically they were not connected, there remained a familiarity that dispenses both to unite them in the mental plane. At the time of the passage of the time portal, the three pure bloods seemed to assimilate even more power than they had in themselves. They remained connected to the moon, which eventually seemed to play more than a major role in all events. A connection at this point seemed to be the key to the realignment of time. A magnetic character was definitely the focal point, which was missing after they arrived at the discovery. The Venturists, where nothing was visible, they saw around them only such a powerful light and felt regenerated by it. For a moment, knowing that they had to connect with the moon seemed like the final step, and so they returned for some time to that immense moment of energy. After some time, everything darkened, and they found themselves, after a snap of the fingers, back there, at home, in the very cold time that seemed to belong to them, at least for two of them. But their return was not in a complex, as they returned for the bodies lying on the floor, to the bodies that had remained. Otherwise, it would have led to their extinction on the land where they belonged. Something that had never happened before had just happened to them, and as they waited for the awakening in their skin, a sign came from above. They had crossed the borders, which meant that the protective magic was now such a low level that anyone could take advantage of it, and jump from one era to another. The positive factor in this negativity, however, was that no one else lived in the complex of these portals. This meant that, having just passed through them, the birthmark would not come in their future, much less the past. It was a full moon night. Like any day, they could move from time to time, and the factor to be discovered, why the moon plays such a central role in all this, came from a person the master had just met, himself in the sky. The master was, in his present time, alive and well, waiting to wake up, and it seemed that during his sleep he had access to the high heavenly blood. It could have been a prediction of what might happen soon. Perhaps it was just there to guide and observe from above. What was known was only that, as long as it was present on high, it was not unheard, automatically any of the three pure bloods. So this was a little paragraph of my book Everlasting. I hope you enjoyed it. You are more than welcome to perceive by yourself. I want to thank again Boulder Bookshop for this opportunity. It was a pleasure to me. I wish you a great day. Bye bye.